Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. It is just me, and this is a re airing of an episode I recorded on another podcast that I have called The Empowered Divorce. No, this is not an episode about divorce. I do, however, if you don't know, also support those who are considering or navigating divorce due to betrayal and abuse, and it is a different kind of divorce. My experience professionally and personally show me that those who are in this space are navigating a life-saving divorce. It is not the same as divorces that are typically or that we typically hear about. I remember people saying things like, well, it takes two. Those don't apply when a reality collapse and fragmentation exist, when a person chooses not to do the work to heal and a partner is faced with the decision that they never wanted to have to be in the space to choose, where they already didn't choose so much of this. To have to be in this situation as well is why I call it a life-saving divorce. And I feel passionate about giving voice to the unique challenges that brings. Anyways, I did record an episode on that other podcast around reality collapse and reality fragmentation. And this is what happens when you have experienced betrayal trauma. So take divorce out of it right now. When you have experienced betrayal trauma, you have experienced a reality collapse and reality fragmentation. When the world as you knew it, as what you thought reality was, is no longer. And those of you who haven't or won't get full disclosure, it really adds to the impact of now reality fragmentation. As I will say in the episode, my hope for talking about this concept is to give a language to your lived experience and validate in a small way what it can feel like when the reality as you knew it is no longer. And your brain is trying to piece together what you thought you knew was real versus what is happening today, but you still aren't really sure what is happening today. There's a word, a four-letter word that can explain this, but I will reframe. Healing from this is no joke. I also hope that today you will be able to have more compassion on yourself for what you have experienced. And if you are the one who betrayed and you are listening to this, my hope is that this helps you better understand and empathize with what this experience is like. And I do invite you to ask your partner if and when they are open to sharing their own lived experience with reality collapse and fragmentation, that they will do so when they feel safe to do so. The impact is real and it is crushing. I hope to do it justice today with explaining the concept and giving voice to it. Hello, my amazing, beautiful listeners. How are you? Thank you for joining me today. I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad that you are here for this topic. Many of you have asked about it. We've actually been talking about it in my groups, this concept of reality collapse and reality fragmentation. This is a big topic and a heavy one, a topic that holds a lot of trauma, a lot of weight, a lot of pain. What I want to convey today is the reality of what you have experienced when you experience betrayal trauma. I've been mentioning these terms in previous episodes. And so thank you for those of you who have reached out and said, hey, can you talk about just that phrase, reality collapse or reality fragmentation? So yes. Let's dive into it and talk about these fundamental concepts in your experience. I believe that when better understood, it can feel so freaking validating and also really help you to have more compassion and grace for yourself with what you've experienced. Having a language also to match the experience that seems so unexplainable can also be really healing. I think reality collapse and reality fragmentation are those phrases that can really give a language to describe what you all have experienced and help validate that. I feel like when these also are more deeply understood and validated within yourself, it can lead to more of that radical acceptance that I've talked about. And then that can help you make different choices and stay in the present reality a little bit more. So concepts like reality fragmentation and reality collapse, really this just describes how your brain and body have perceived and processed your shattered sense of trust and safety in your primary relationship and in your entire world. So when you've experienced betrayal trauma, you've experienced a collapse of reality as you knew it and fell into a whole new reality. Your reality of the life and the marriage that you thought you had becomes shattered because of the discovery or partial disclosure of the actual reality of your life, of your partner and who they are, your world, and even your body, the reality of your body and how your body has responded to someone. That is even a completely different reality than this new one where you're realizing that your body really wasn't safe in the hands of this person as you thought it was. And when there isn't that full truth telling and even accountability from the betrayer, the human brain is then fragmented and often is bouncing back and forth between these two different realities, these two different worlds. Today, I want to give voice to this internal violent experience. I've mentioned this before. I've had my colleague, my friend Hope Ray on here to explain that concept, that terminology of betrayal violence, because of what it does literally to your entire world, but inside what it does to your autonomic nervous system is violently shifting and collapsing your reality. It's a heavy topic today, but I'm hoping to do it justice. And more than anything, like I mentioned, give you a language to help describe your experience, even if it might be a little bit different than what I describe. I think you'll be able to really relate to this. When I think about reality collapse and how to explain this in a much less emotional context, one thing that came to my mind is an experience that I had often growing up. It was not uncommon for me to go to bed knowing that the living room had a white couch in it and the TV was on the wall by the fireplace. The kitchen table was on the other side of the kitchen, and the painting of the pretty flower was on the wall by the phone, and the walls were white. But it wasn't uncommon that I would then wake up the next morning and the couch was now in the sitting room and the TV was on the opposite side of the room. And the pictures that were on the wall by the phone were actually not there anymore and upstairs, and the walls that were usually white now look like a light pink. My my mom was always rearranging furniture in the house and changing things up, and gosh, sometimes I would come home from school and walk up the stairs and take a right down the hall and where my bedroom normally was, and walk in and realize that nope, my bedroom's not there anymore. So I would have to take a left down the hall and find that my room has been switched and changed. And so what was one reality that night when I laid my head down to go to sleep, waking up, I had a different sense of reality in terms of how the house was decorated and organized. Again, a very non emotional example of explaining a sudden shift in reality where things as you knew it were suddenly different and you didn't expect it. You weren't warned. It just is now a completely different reality in your space. Now, magnifying this concept to a whole life lived day in and day out, connecting with a person, being vulnerable, making commitments and vows, sharing, dreaming, loving someone, and believing that all of that was reciprocated, right? Waking up every day with the belief that the person that you were waking up next to was also seeing the same color walls and looking at the same couch in the living room, trusting that the room that you shared was upstairs and down the hall to the right. And maybe if you did ask at one point, hey, are the walls a different color? It looks slightly pink, only to get back in response, nope, it's white like always. Something must be wrong with your eyes. You might want to get those checked. So you trust that something must be wrong with your eyes. Maybe maybe you're really getting old. A year later, you wake up and you notice that the painting on the walls are moved. And you say, hey, did you move those paintings? This time their response is, you've got to be kidding me. That's what you're focusing on right now? How selfish are you? There are other things to be concerned about right now. Why are you bringing this up? I thought I knew you. So you shift your focus. You shift your focus away from what you noticed to focus on what they're wanting you to notice and focus on instead. Because you trust them, you believe them, you're wanting to be relational. And after all, it's just paintings. So maybe you are making too big of a deal about it. Year after year after year, you notice things are different, changed, moved around. But you're told over and over that it's not true or that you're exaggerating, too picky, not doing enough to help in other areas of the house. Why aren't you focusing on the garage? That's important to your partners. Why are you focusing on the fact that their bedroom is now on the other side of the hall? Then one day you wake up and the entire house is burned to the ground. Everything that you knew is gone. The couch, the TV, the paint color, the room location. That's not even a blip of a concern because everything that you knew to be real isn't. The whole house has collapsed. And you are still being told that it's not that bad or you're making it up. Just forget. If you just stopped focusing so much on the color of the walls, maybe they wouldn't have lit the match. Reality collapse involves the complete breakdown of your fundamental understanding of reality following betrayal. The core beliefs about yourself, about the other person, the world often disintegrate. And now you're left disoriented. Your core beliefs that you thought you knew, that thought you shared, are shattered. And everything that you once were certain about are now questionable. Now, your own sense of self, unsure of who you are and who you were in that relationship, your belief system, everything you knew about yourself, your body is now in crisis. The emotional overwhelm, the intense feelings of loss, despair, hopelessness, confusion, all emerge. And you can't even find a way to put one foot in front of the other. And then the loss, the incredible loss, as you look around and see everything is burned to the ground. The feeling of emptiness and meaninglessness. Like, was all of it real? Did it mean anything? Because it's gone. It makes you question everything. Now you're not even going to trust that when someone says, hey, look, the sun is rising on the east. You're going to doubt that. Reality collapse impacts your central nervous system. It's as if you were now constantly being chased by a saber-toothed tiger and you're going to die. Chronic activation and stress are now your companions. Elevated levels of cortisol? Yep. Adrenaline? Yep. And all those other stress hormones? Yep. And over time, this biochemical surge reshapes neural circuits, literally, making your brain even more vigilant and more reactive because at any point, that match might be lit again. Instead of opening your eyes and realizing it was all just a bad dream and you can return to that calm baseline, your body is going to stay braced for impact, ready to fight, ready to flee, or shut down. Your amygdala, that small almond-shaped cluster of neurons really deep in the brain, is going to act like a 24/7 security camera, always running and recording. Under normal circumstances, It's going to flag potential threats. But after a reality collapse, it goes on overdrive and it doesn't stop. Everything is a red flag. It's scanning everyone and everything for signs of danger. Who is holding the matchbook? It's watching for a tone in the voice. It's watching for new pieces of information. In fact, even silence, it's going to record and light up. This heightened reactivity, as you can tell, is going to make it impossible to relax, to trust, to feel secure. No way. Not happening in your body. Your prefrontal cortex and that regulation there, it's going to leave you foggy. You might have heard me talk about that brain fog, right? Feeling clouded, forgetting, indecisive, unable to process things logically. You can't make sense of what's happening. You can't plan, right? Plan for the day, plan for the year. Yeah, right. It's going to feel impossible. You have disrupted memory and information processing in that prefrontal cortex. Oh, kids need picked up from school at 3 o'clock and you've been doing this all year, but now it's 4, you completely forgot. Reality collapse. Your heart rate is going to quicken. Your breath is going to become shallow. Your muscles are going to become tense. You're always bracing for impact. And over time, it's going to lead to health issues, insomnia, digestive problems, chronic pain, immune system suppression. My functional medicine doctor identified all of the above in me. Some of you might swing into the dorsal vagal shutdown, right? Freeze, numb response, where it feels like your body is just shutting off in order to cope with that overwhelming trauma. Nope. Can't get out of bed, can't move. Nothing. Do nothing. Be nothing. Want to exist into nothing. Disappear into nothing. Now, some of you might be going, but Amie, shouldn't I be better by now? Normally, after a stressful event passes, your central nervous system is going to recalibrate and come back to that state of calm and equilibrium. But when you've experienced betrayal trauma, the quote threat is existential and relational. It simply can't just be turned off or fought off or prayed off. It just isn't going to turn off. Your body's reacting like the rug's going to get pulled out from under you again at any time. And so it's going to feel really hard to get your balance, to keep your footing for a while. It isn't a sign of weakness. This is a natural physiological survival response to an emotional and relational threat. And then here's the kicker. As if all of that wasn't enough. Those of you who do not have full disclosure, full truth, full honesty are going to find it extremely difficult to have closure. When you don't have the truth as to how the house burned down, when you don't really know if the walls were pink or not, or how long they've been pink, or how long the TV's been on the other side of the room. Really? Were there multiple TVs? You won't know because the one who lit the freaking match has either moved into another house already or busy telling a judge that it's not fair that he should have to pay for half the house and only have the kids half the time. Yeah, that's not fair. But without knowing those things from the past that led up to this collapse, you're now going to experience reality fragmentation. Your experiences in the present reality are going to be broken up and mixed together with pieces of the past reality. So you're living in a new house, in a new space. And even if that house is only, let's say, half built at this point, you're going to walk upstairs and turn left to your bedroom and freeze because you're wondering now if the bedroom on the right was real. Was there a bedroom? Did it have a painting of flowers on that wall? Was it pretty? You thought it was, but maybe it wasn't. Or you walk out into your yard and you're barefoot and you used to like the grass under your feet. You look down and start to question the sensation of the grass between your toes. Maybe you hate it. Is the grass even green? The neighbor looks over the fence and says, "Hey, here's some homemade cookies." But as you go to reach for them, you question the motive and wondered if they're poisonous. reality fragmentation is going to occur over the holidays, anniversaries, any change in your lifestyle, any change in the ex partner's life will often invoke conflicting emotions where you can simultaneously be feeling loving and anger towards the memory or the ex. And it creates this internal conflict, fragmenting your emotional reality. It's disrupting your sense of trust. It's going to fracture the previously held beliefs in that old house where you thought it was safe. Now it's causing this split in your perception of safety versus danger. What is safe? Maybe where I'm at now isn't really safe. Maybe who I'm with isn't really safe. Dissociation. Now we're going to cope. Dissociation is an amazing protector. It's a coping mechanism. When you have gaps in your memory or sense some sort of unreality and it's too much emotionally to take in at the moment, and we're going to dissociate, mentally disconnect from that traumatic event, causing you to lose memory. Can't remember anymore if the couch was white or not. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't. You may have known that there were things in the marriage that were hard, but you thought you were both trying to work them out. Maybe you believed you had a great marriage, that you were connecting, you had lots of sex even. And so when you find out that they've been cheating, it doesn't make sense to you. Your brain literally were hurt trying to figure out what happened. How did I not know? What did I miss? How did I miss this? So when you hire someone to help you build a new house and they come in with their clipboard and glasses and say, well, maybe if you just had more sex and been more forgiving and Christ-like, more patient, more understanding, why not just freaking stab me? I have no idea if any of that metaphorically made sense, but, but that's what just came out. I know everyone has had a different house, different furniture, different color walls, but the concept of the collapse and the now fragmentation hopefully resonated. Okay, so now what? Now what, Amie? Right? Holy heavy. I know. First, I hope that you can wrap your arms around yourself and give yourself a hug. Tell yourself how hard this must have been and how it makes sense why you aren't trusting right now, why it doesn't feel safe in your body, and why you still find yourself wanting to send a text to him about the damn wall color. It makes sense. So be kind to yourself. Start here. Then acknowledge and learn to recognize the fragmentation moments when they come. Like when he'd come over and walk in my garage and grab the weed eater and start edging my lawn. And I walk outside wondering what the hell that noise is. And I see the guy who burned down my old house and is still holding the matches doing something, quote, nice. My brain and body splits in half again. Wait, he didn't ask me. He walked into my space without my knowledge. And he's the one who blew up my old house. But now he's saying that I'm being mean for telling him to get off my property. Wait, what? Am I being mean? Are the walls really just white and not pink? No, no. I know that this is my house. I know that this is my choice. I know I have a right to say no. I know that this person is still holding the matches. This is my reality right now. This is me building trust in myself, which is what you need to do. It's essential to start building your own sense of trust in your present reality in order to start broadening that trust towards other people and other relationships. The process of healing from reality fragmentation, it's going to involve reconstructing a more accurate map of your reality. And that is just going to take time. Here's something that's so important. When you are trying to reconstruct your new map of reality, it is going to incorporate both the good memories and the painful truths. Because yes, at one time, having someone help me with yard work was nice. And I miss that. And I need help. And I appreciate help. And today, the truth is also that he is holding matches and still won't acknowledge it. Healing reality fragmentation is about acknowledging the complexity of relationships and human behavior, recognizing the signs that you might have missed without blaming yourself for not seeing them. Maybe you didn't see that the TV was in a different spot. Perhaps your experiences was such that you never even questioned the color of the walls and the moving of the furniture. And when you woke up to the house burned down, it is not your fault. You didn't do anything wrong. The truth is, you most likely wouldn't have changed the results anyways. Healing this is also about learning to trust your ability to navigate this new reality despite the painful lessons learned and not letting that experience that happened of your reality collapse dictate or predict your future experiences. And that's hard at first, but we need to be willing to look at why you missed your partner holding the matchbook without shame or self blame. We have to do this work right here. We have to be willing to look at why we missed it without blame or shame. We have to be able to look at what other conditioning or beliefs you were taught that caused you to maybe self doubt your eye function when you did see a different wall color, or where minimizing and rationalizing the pain of bumping into moved furniture that you didn't know moved and then accepted the blame of it. Doing this work is hard, but necessary. I can't tell you how many clients over the years will say things like, he was a great guy. He was a great dad. He was a great husband. He did all the things, a great provider. I thought we had a great marriage. How could he do this? Where did I go wrong? It is always interesting. I can totally relate how when the human brain is trying to put pieces together and make sense of something, when it doesn't have the information outside of the self to make sense, then it is going to turn against the self. It's they did this really horrible thing, violated the relationship and vows and values, lied and hid. And what did I do wrong? Where did I go wrong? This is the cause of trying to find closure, your human brain trying to find closure without full disclosure. See how that shift against the self happens? It's your brain trying to find closure. It might be more subtle than that, even. Like, why wasn't I enough, skinny enough? Did I not have sex enough? Was I not in tune enough? When we can't make sense of the external, the brain is going to go internal and find something wrong with you. So, as you grapple with this new and often harsh reality, it is natural for your brain to scramble for explanations. When your external world stops making sense, your brain, in a very desperate attempt to restore some sense of order, often turns inward. Wasn't I enough? And what did I do wrong? There's that defense mechanism. So it's okay, in fact, necessary for a time to hold both realities carefully in your hands and grieve the one and question the other. Start finding consistency in your reality today. Don't shove or block the feelings that come with the fragmentation moments. Build new routines, hold boundaries, and give yourself grace the times that you don't. This healing reality fragmentation, it's going to take time. I promise it gets better. What happened was not your fault. The consequence of it is yours to bear, but you don't have to do it alone. There are those that get it. I get it. And I hope that this validates your lived experiences and also shows you that you're not crazy, but your trauma is real. Choose to believe yourself. Choose to believe your story that your body knows. Choose to love yourself through the hard and through the pain and the grief of that reality fragmentation as every part of you tries to stay more and more present in the today, seeing things as they really are and making sense of what you thought was. Choose to be the creator of your tomorrow because you absolutely can. Take care, everybody. Sometimes healing from this deep level of trauma takes something really intense to get you unstuck, which is why I'm hosting a 3-day brain spotting intensive April 10th through 12th of 2025. I'm letting you all know now because I am limiting this to 6 attendees. It is going to go fast. If you are interested right now, head over to the show notes, click on the link to intensive. It's going to take you to chooserecoveryservices.com. There, you will scroll down to brain spotting intensive. And if you are interested, the moment that registration link is available, you will get an email. I'm letting you all know now before that registration link is available because I know that something like this is going to take a little planning. In traditional therapy, your progress is going to unfold over weeks or months. An intensive creates a concentrated environment where you can experience accelerated healing. So for those of you who often come to me and say, all right, Amie, I want the checklist. I want to be over this. How can I get through this as quickly as possible? Doing an intensive can help accelerate your healing drastically. So over 3 days, you're going to have an opportunity to go deeper, allowing your body and mind to shift in ways that really can be transformative and lasting. With a small group of just 6 participants, you're going to experience individualized support tailored to your needs. This is all about getting back into our body and healing the trauma and the shock that still resides in our bodies. The intensive is going to be held in Salem, Utah. It is going to be incredible. 3 days with me. I cannot wait. Again, head over to the show notes. If you are interested, click that link. You'll be able to email my office, let them know you're interested. When that registration link becomes live, you will get an email. Again, that's April 10th through 12th, 2025. I hope to see you there. Take care.
Hi guys, this is Laura with Choose Recovery Services, and I wanted to just let you know about an intensive that we have coming up in Spanish Fork, Utah from January 22nd to the 25th. This is an intensive that Hallie Roderick and I and Alana Gordon will be running together, and it's the Revive and Thrive Intensive. Something that Peter Levine says is that trauma is physical, and because trauma is physical, we need some physical component to that healing for it to move through our bodies. And that's what this intensive is aimed at. We have workshops, we have experiences, we have lots of tools that we'll be sharing on how to move trauma through your body in a physical, somatic way. We hope you can join us. And for more information, there will be a link in the show notes, or you're welcome to visit chooserecoveryservices.com. Hope to see you there.
I want to speak to those who you feel like you're wearing a mask. Maybe that's coming up in your recovery, just more awareness of the mask that you wear. And you're really struggling to show your authentic self. Like if people saw me, they wouldn't be able to accept me. They wouldn't love me. So that vulnerability piece, either somebody's saying, hey, you're not vulnerable enough, or you're like, I'm struggling with vulnerability, and finding that genuine connection, specifically with people outside of your partner and your partner. If that resonates, I wanted to invite you to our Unmasked intensive in Spanish Fork, Utah. It's a 3-day intensive. It's hosted by Choose Recovery Services. This experience is designed to help men who are ready to step into self-discovery and transformation. So during the intensive, let you know what you're going to experience. You're going to connect with other men that are at similar places in your journey. You're going to explore the true meaning of what actually is integrity. This isn't just an honesty thing, it's an integrity thing. And remove the masks that you have on that maybe culture or society has placed on you. And you're going to gain a deeper understanding of how your family of origin impacts your thoughts and your actions today. And you're going to be able to start on the journey of healing some of those inner wounds from the past and how it's affecting your relationships today. So again, Spanish Fork, Utah. It's going to be January 15th through the 17th. Take some steps towards reclaiming that authentic self. And this is a huge investment in self, and we recognize that. So if you want to learn more about it, you can go to chooserecoveryservices.com, but we'll put in the show notes more information. If you have been considering this for a while, go ahead and make the jump. I'm be very excited to meet you and see you in person.